I would say my first choice for you would be to take this home and talk to an adult at home about what you should do, or at very least, if you're going to do it on your own, run it by your parents somehow so that they are okay with it. And one of the reasons I want you to do that is just to honor your parents. But the other reason I want you to do that is because it saves me time in the summer. I do all of this by hand. Like I go through all of there's no computer involved. I do all of it. I input all of it into the computer. And so if you're going to not consult your parents and they find out what you've chosen and they don't like it and they email me and say, I don't want them to take that, or I don't want that makes my job harder. So I know that's selfish, but it's a sausage factory. I just got to tell you, and it's a lot of work, and it's doesn't look very pretty sometimes. And don't start writing now. If you're going to start putting your elective choices on there before you talk to your folks, then please do that before you turn it into me. Okay? Okay. So for you, everything on the first page. Now you have to listen. So for you, everything on the first page is, and then onto the second page is available to you. The only thing that is not, the only electives that are not available to you that are the ones that say 12th grade electives. Those are only for seniors, except that will be different for you because in math. Okay, so but you still have to take a math class. So because you need 3 years of math.
Yay.
That's okay. So I will answer this question, but then we need to keep going. You would have the opportunity to take by if you really want to continue with math through dual credit. That's higher than AP. Okay. So you don't have to skip math if you don't want to skip math. You can get a start on college. Yeah, I thought I heard. Okay, so for now, just listen. So if you want to study hall, if you're like in junior year, listen, I'm just going to tell you right now, you probably want to study hall. Junior year is easily the most difficult year of the 4 years, partly because of chemistry, and then for most of you, the highest math that you'll take. You're done with math if you want to be after junior year. But the other thing is the Bible stuff. Bible up until junior year and senior year. Attention, I'm like, she asked me to do, I'm going to get a good grade. And if you don't get a good grade, it's because you didn't do those things. But it's not an easy class. So I advocate for a study hall. Most years I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure you need one. Junior year, you probably do. Adobe Multimedia is a class where you learn to use the Adobe program, and right now all of you are thinking, are we going to have a technology teacher? We are planning on having a technology teacher and offering all of our technology classes. You can pray for that, but yeah. He has a different job now, so I don't think that's a possibility. So anatomy and physiology. Anatomy is the study of the body. Like the parts of the body, and physiology is the chemistry of the body. I didn't know that when I took it. I did great on the anatomy, but physiology was just but I passed. That's all I do. So art history is usually and art history was different this year, but it's normally this. We will offer some sort of art class, but art history is sort of this amalgamation. Can you hang on to it? An amalgamation of art, like doing the art and learning about art at the same time. Automotive and small engine repair. Hey, if you want to go to World of Wheels and win, that's a lot of W's. Take that. And it would be really nice. Your dad and mom would be, like if you can repair the snowblower, like, thank you so much. You just saved us a bunch of money. And then band, choir, computer-aided design and production is which we did offer this year, is you make things on the computer, or you design things on the computer, and then the 3D printer makes them. And then, let's see, computer security and information systems is more about the keeping the cyber, the attacks on your computer. Like that. Now, here's our first semester class. If you choose a semester class like drama, which I think you all know what that is, you need to have a first semester class. It can be a study hall for a semester, or it can be one of the classes that is a first semester class. It can be an elective that you only need to take for a semester. But when somebody puts in a semester class high up and I don't have any other option, that ends up being problematic. So please make sure that you give me some choice that I can give you for the other semester. Family consumer science, you know what that is. It's cooking, it's budgeting, it's a bunch of things having to do with being an adult. Health and nutrition is new to us. This year was the first year we had it. I believe Mrs. Zesson will be teaching that again next year, and I think they've had a lot of fun in that class. The introduction to industrial arts is just kind of a overall industrial arts. Industrial arts are things that you do with your hands, with woods or with metal or with cars or something like that. So you're just it's kind of an overview of all those things. And introduction to woods. My husband made that shelf right there when he was in high school in this class, and it's still there and it's still holding books. So that's good. So you make stuff like that. And then introduction to programming is teaches you how to program a computer. So look at the asterisk at the end of this because they have requirements. These classes are open to students who attended Cornerstone through sixth through eighth grade, or can pass a basic typing test. So if you weren't here for middle school, then you have to get with that teacher and make sure that you are ready for the class. Journalism yearbook, our journalism class makes the yearbook, but you also learn about journalistic writing in that. Lifetime sports are sports that you can play generally for the totality of your life, and that's why you see pickleball out here, and ping pong and things like that. Music theory, you learn about, and you can't take music theory 2 unless you take music theory 1, but that has happened before. Someone just wants to go to music theory 2. You have to get Mr. Lambert's permission for that. So music theory is about how do we put music together. It isn't actually learning to play something. It's learning to write music and how does that work and how do the notes fit together and that sort of thing. Personal finance is, I wish it was a required class. It helps you learn how to use your money wisely and in a godly way, and it's from a Christian perspective. If your parents ask, it's from a Christian perspective. Photography, you've seen the photography out there. You know all about how to a camera and how to shoot, in lighting and all that other stuff. About photography, if you want to know more about that, you can ask Mrs. Wagner. Robotics, first you build a kit robot, and then you design and build your own design of a robot. Speech is a first semester class. I think speech is one of the most helpful classes you could take because you will have to do public speaking at some time. Whether it's in high school, you will have to do public speaking in my class at some point. And you will have the opportunity to do that rather than writing a paper several times as well. But in college, if you're going to college, you are almost certainly going to either have to take a speech class and give speeches or have classes that you are speaking. So So it's very. By the way, I once heard that the greatest fear that people have when they list on like what they list or rank fears is public speaking. That's number one. Death is number two. Which one comedian said that. So that means that if you're at a funeral, most people would rather have a person in the casket than person in the eulogy. I don't understand that because I love talking. And then sports medicine. I don't know if we're going to be able to offer that. We'll see. It's possible, especially now that we have Mrs. Zessen, but she's got to be upstairs too. Sports medicine talks about, we called it in college when I took it, was care and prevention of athletic injuries. And that's most of it. You'll learn how to deal with athletic injuries, what you do when something happens, and then just how the body works. Kinesiology. I took kinesiology. That was a fun class. The only science class I ever liked. And I thought for sure that I wanted to change my major. I was a senior, so and start designing shoes. That's a kinesiologist design those shoes. So that's sports medicine. Web development is making web pages, learning to make web pages. You know what weightlifting is. You can't take weightlifting 2 unless one of two things is true. You've taken weightlifting 1, or you have significant experience on your own with weightlifting, and you'll have to convince Mr. Dotzler of that. And then Woods 1, so you're making things. Accounting is, I don't know that we're going to be offering that next year, but accounting has to do with budgeting and making sure all the numbers line up in a business. AP US History. Okay, here's the thing. You have, AP US History is a college level course. It is possible for you to get college credit with that. You will need to be a stellar student to take it. It's a lot of reading. But if you love AP, if you love U.S. history, it's a good match. Now, I say you may get college credit because you get college credit not by taking the class. You get college credit by taking the test, which you will take, the AP U.S. history test you will take, by getting either a 4 or a 5. 5 is the highest you can get on that test. If you bomb that test, you get nothing. The test determines whether or not you get college credit. So I took AP US History. I got a 4, and I tested out of my favorite class, American History, Civil War to Present. So I took the class anyway because it was my favorite class. So I didn't save my parents any money. So you have 2 choices. You can take it as a junior if you want to, in lieu of regular U.S. history, instead of regular U.S. history. That then is a required class for you. That fulfills the requirement. Or you can do what I did because I loved U.S. history so much. I took regular U.S. history with my very favorite teacher ever. She's the one that made me realize I loved U.S. history as a junior, and then I took AP U.S. history as a senior. And in that case, that would be an elective. And you absolutely, can do either of those things. So AP US History, Contemporary Issues and Global Affairs, I wish this was required too. Here's my apologetic for that. It's second semester. Usually it's paired up with senior year government. But I think it's really important, especially your senior year, that you talk about these issues that divide us, that differ over, in a safe place, and talking about it from a biblical perspective before you go off to UNO or UNL or someplace and you're being taught stuff and going, no, this isn't what I think. And you can speak into that. Then you can speak into those things that people are teaching you in college that you don't agree with. So I am a big proponent for that, especially for seniors. We are hoping to have drones. I think Mrs. Schrog's on it, and if Mrs. Schrog's on it, we should have it. You have to be 16 years old. I think it is to take it, 16 or 17 years old. I should know that. And then we are offering, I'm going to come back to dual credit. We are offering psychology. Music Theory 3 would only be if you do Music Theory 1 and Music Theory 2, or you convince Mr. Lambert you can do that. So we are offering psychology. We have a teacher and everything. So if you want to take psychology, I advocate for this because this is psychology from a Christian perspective. I looked at, I'm not teaching it, by the way, but I did start it and I did teach it. So I looked and looked and looked for a book from a Christian perspective, and it was really hard to find. And I kept looking at these ones that weren't, and I started getting like, I don't know, being traumatized by these books, what they were saying and the pictures they had, and I was like, no, we can't use this one. But you will likely take psychology in college. If you are going to a public school, if you are not going to a Christian college, it will not be from a Christian perspective, and it will. I've had many students tell me, "I'm so glad I took psychology with you from a Christian perspective before I went to college." Not a so.
Who's teaching that?
I think I'm Mrs. Arch. She's a teacher who teaches upstairs. So she's going to do that. She's very well versed in that. Spanish 3. Okay, here's my, I got it. No, I'll come back. Spanish 3. You can just cross off sports medicine 2 because at this point we don't have anyone that's taking sports medicine 1. Here's the thing. If you have a desire to test out a foreign language as in college, you will not be able to do that unless you take 4 years of Spanish. And you still might not be able to do that. But you want, like, if you take it through Spanish 2, by this time next year, you'll remember hello, goodbye, and thank you, but that's it. You can't, if you're going to have any chance to test out a college foreign language, you need to take all 4 years. Here's my other apologetic. Why wouldn't you want to spend 2 more years? I don't get that. If I could spend more time with Senora, I would. Absolutely. Yeah. So I advocate for that too. It's helpful for you. And even if you only go through Spanish 3, that will be helpful to you as well. Okay, dual credit. If you are interested in dual credit, I'll talk more about it with you. I don't want to give this to everyone when people are going, I don't care about dual credit. Dual credit is an opportunity for you to take classes online with a college and earn college credit. And hear this, because this is the question I get the most. Nearly all colleges, unless you're going to an Ivy League college, nearly all colleges accept the dual credit from other colleges. Why? Because nearly all colleges at this point offer dual credit, and they want other colleges accepting their dual credit, so they accept other colleges' dual credit. So you would be given a study hall for the purpose of completing that class. So let's say you want a dual credit class and you want a study hall. You would have a study hall that is your study hall, and then you would have a study hall to work on the dual credit class. There are some you have to have at least, I think, a 3.0 average. You have to be a junior or a senior, and it is at your parents' expense. We don't pay for that. Then it is, depending on which one you go to it can be anywhere from 150 to 200 something dollars. But it is far less than it will cost them to have you take that class once you're in college. It's far less. And I've known of students, I have nobody here yet, but they enter college as a sophomore. And if you're only taking 3 years to graduate, that's going to save your parents a whole lot. So it's worth. I mean, if your parents say, "Is it really worth the cost?" It is really worth the cost, especially if you're going to. And you can take one every semester starting this summer. So you can take those dual credit classes starting this summer. On your transcript, it counts the same as an AP class. So if you get an A, any A, you get a 5.0. Okay. or any B, you get a 4.0. Any C, you get a 3.0. After that, you just get or 0. Okay, questions. I know that took a while.
Those are like the test, does that cost money or better?
It does. You have to pay for the AP history. I don't think the school pays for that. I don't remember, but Mrs. Schrock or Mrs. Peltier or Dr. Jones. Yes.
How would you like us to mark the AP US history if we're taking that instead of regular history?
Yeah, just give me that. If you give me that high enough to put it on your, I'll just
So mark it as like a
mark it as one of your. But if you're going to make it like 10 or 8 or something, you might not get it. So if you really want it, then put it. 1, 2, or 3, you're going to get it. 1, 2, or 3, if it's available in your schedule, if it doesn't conflict with something, you're going to get it. Yeah.
Is art history going to be taught this academy next year again?
No. We're working on getting into actual art.
And then is it going to still be art history?
It will be if we get an art teacher.
And so there won't ever be just like an art class?
Not that I know. Not that I know. Yes.
So for the AP history, that like if we choose that one instead of the regular AP, like that would count as history, but then we would still get like the other 3 electives.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you take AP US history, you get 3 other electives.
Okay, so that doesn't count as like
right.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
That's another benefit. Yes.
Regular history, since we're paying for the AP test anyway, would you still be able to take the AP test without taking the class?
You cannot. You have to take the AP US history class. Okay, the bell has rung. One more question.
What are the most common study hours for juniors? Like what hours is it?
4 is the most common study hall hour because there are so few required. But somehow because the afternoon is pretty. It just depends on how it shakes down. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you.